Imagine waking up on April 12, 2026, to an alert that freezes global markets. The Strait of Hormuz has been closed off by a military blockade, and thousands of ships are forcefully halted in their tracks. Instantly, you know what the world is going to worry about: the fuel gauge. People are going to panic over the skyrocketing cost of petrol, diesel, and basic logistics. But while everyone is staring at the oil charts, they are missing a silent secondary shockwave about to hit an entirely different sector. Because the chemicals passing through this strait are irreplaceable in electronics, a total supply cutoff triggers a vertical climb in retail prices. Your next phone could cost 5 times more, becoming an asset only the ultra-rich can afford. Take India, for example. We see hundreds of millions of newly connected consumers packed tightly into our digital landscape. India's digital revolution sits on top of an invisible supply chain of imported neon and sulfur. A standoff over crude oil translates directly to a total blackout for the digital tools ordinary citizens rely on to run their daily lives. To see why your smartphone is so exposed, we have to look inside a modern semiconductor fabrication plant. These are ultra-sterile environments where the margin for error is essentially zero. Microchip lithography acts like an advanced printing press, where powerful lasers carve a microscopic grid of electrical pathways into a bare silicone wafer. But lasers can't fire through thin air. They require a constant, uninterrupted flow of highly purified neon gas to focus the light. Then there is sulfur. Without specific sulfuric chemicals, it is physically impossible to extract and refine the rare earth metals embedded in every single component of a modern phone. These fabs are built for constant, high-precision flow. A chemical shortage triggers a total operational freeze. Without a steady, guaranteed stream of these very specific foundational elements, a $10 billion chip factory is effectively a giant paperweight. The trap is that you cannot just open a neon mine or dig up purified tech-grade sulfur on demand. These elements are completely captive resources. Neon is exclusively captured as a waste byproduct from the intense heat and raw scale of industrial steel manufacturing. Because of that structural reliance, when military conflicts erupt near heavy steel hubs in places like Eastern Europe, the global capability to capture that neon gas instantly evaporates. Sulfur faces the exact same constraint. It is harvested almost entirely as a waste byproduct, scraped off during the heavy refinement of crude oil. Which brings us back to that military choke point in the Middle East. If tankers stop flowing, refineries stop spinning, and the sulfur disappears. The highest achievements of modern digital engineering are completely held hostage by the scrap and waste left over from 20th century heavy industries. When you trace this vulnerability down to the consumer level, a specific economic trap opens up, particularly in India. This chart shows India as the world's third largest raw energy importer. Because we import refined products rather than controlling local processing, if our energy imports shrink, our access to tech-critical chemical byproducts plummets directly to zero. This creates a mechanical doom loop. An external shock to the energy market immediately triggers an internal collapse in our ability to manufacture electronics. And you cannot just flip a switch to turn a semiconductor lab back on. Once a chemical shortage forces those perfectly calibrated lasers and etching machines to shut down, recalibrating the factory floor takes months. With chip output frozen and the lead time to restart measured in months, a brutal bidding war begins over existing inventory. This tech famine drives prices 5 times higher as the smartphone shifts from an everyday utility to a scarce asset. True tech sovereignty depends on securing the chemical foundations of the hardware industry, reaching deep into the heavy industrial sector. Until those unglamorous foundational chemical supply lines are physically secured, the daily digital access of the everyday consumer remains completely at the mercy of foreign oil blockades and steel wars.